Everyone, this is Victor Edo once again, their trainer. I really want to make us take us through some of the CVs that I've done for clients, and so that we can have a hands-on view of what really it really looks like. So this CV was written to a client, which is a family friend, can see though. Um, he was searching for a post of a managerial position, and so he studied project management in school actually. And so if you look at it, everything that was written here was tailored towards management. So the keywords, those are the things that we'll still talk about in ATS compatible system. In ATS compatible system, it's try and check if there are keywords in your document that tallies to the job position. So someone that's looking for a post of accountancy, the certain words that should be seen in his or her work, words like balancing and all of those. I really don't know much about the accountancy terms, but that's just one of the things. You need to see certain terminologies of words that relates to the profession that he or she is talking about. That is present, but that must be present in the document. So that is just compatible system searches all of these words and see if there are so much there, meaning that this person really knows what he or she is doing. So those are part of the things that ATS does. So you could see a management occurring. You can see manager position, you can see manager, general manager, manager, project manager, volunteer, marketing ambassador, and all. So these are kind of the examples. So and then I want to also take us through each of those sections. We have professional summary, we have personal information, skills, experience, education, now certification and award, achievement, and then referee. Now while we are dealing with resume yesterday, I made us understand that there are certain things that are not so much necessary in a resume because you just want something of one page that a recruiter can just look at within 2 seconds thereabout. So this is the case whereby we have 2 pages thereabout talking about certain things that might not really look necessary for a resume. So looking at it, I had in my education I was putting the first school living education, the SSC. Might not really be so necessary. For a resume you can just put your BSc, that's enough. Certification and awards. I highlight certain certifications and awards that he or she has gained. Achievement also. So let me go to another document. Now this to a marine geoscientist. Here I put in the job position, job title. So certain times the last document I opened there was no job position, there was no job title. So the job title on a CV or a resume, on a CV is determinate. You can decide to put it, you can decide not to put it. It's not so necessary. But for a resume, very important that you put a job title. So here I put in the contact details, the LinkedIn. It's important for you as what's it called? As an employee searching for a job, that in your document you put your LinkedIn account. I used to ask all my clients that let them give me a LinkedIn account. If they don't have, let them open one. Why? Employers to look at go search for your LinkedIn name or your LinkedIn link. I'll show us LinkedIn link like this one. Look at this. This is a link such that they can put it on their phone or their system and then search for this, and then they can go to your profile and see. Reason for this is that they want to attestate if the things that you put into your document are truly right. They want to confirm if the things that you're really saying here are true. You really have this experience, because they expect that as you are getting a job, you'll be updating them. As you are getting new certificates and awards, you're updating those things on your LinkedIn. So it's a way of certifying that the things that you have in your CV are truly right. So it's important that you have a LinkedIn account. So let's go back. This person's work is very, very detailed. When he gave me the work to write for him, I knew that it's almost 4 pages or 3 pages there, but I'm writing one recently that is 4 pages. So look at this one. I can't put all of this in a resume. It's not possible. There's no space to contain that. But a CV, which is a compendium of everything that the person has achieved, either the work that relates to the job position that is looking for. Look at this now. Let me show you a job position that does not really relate. Now this person has once been a teacher, which does not really relate to a marine geoscientist work. If you're writing a resume, you won't put that teaching position there because it does not relate. The only exception in which you have to put in a job position or a skill or certification and awards that you have that does not really relate is when that skill, experience, and all achievement is a transferable skill, a transferable experience. What do I mean by transferable? It still has a way of being applicable into this job position which you're looking for. Let me see if I can drop out an example. Okay, someone who is into taking for instance that managerial position that I'm talking about, maybe as a project manager, but once while he was pursuing his career, he was a supervisor, he was a coordinator. Now that shows, because what the essence of a manager is the leadership skills. So leadership is a balance point that combines these two positions together: a project manager and then a supervisor. Leadership links them together, so it's still transferable. I don't understand. So the position of a supervisor is still transferable to the position of a manager, a project manager. So that's what I mean by transferable experience. So transferable skills, maybe someone in administrative skills, maybe who has administrative skills rather, that skill is here as applicable to someone who is into office assistance. That's transferable. So these are the things I'm talking about. So look at this now. This has a professional summary, skills, educational background. This is what I did in the skills. I first listed all the software that the person has. Later on I moved to this also software in addition to personal skills like decision making and active listening. And then I put in the administrative skills like leadership and teamwork, good oral communication, interpersonal communication and all. So this is a work experience. As you can see, organizations. Now you can put in the organizations in which you are affiliated to. Maybe an affiliate member as a lecturer, or you're an affiliate member as a student. I used to ask them, okay, even if you are not a member of an organization, tell me the name of the association of your department while you were in school. Take for instance, mine was a National Association of Marine Geoscience Students. So although I'm not really a professional member of the body, but yet I'm a student member of this particular body. So that is also an organization that you can put in there. I've been part of IMAREST. So all of those are things can be in organization. And then research and project. I used to ask, okay, have you written any paper before? If they say no, I can still go on the book. What's your undergraduate thesis? Seminar report that you did in school, practical. So it's just to show that this person has really had some project and he has written publications, although he or she did not really publicize his work, but yet he has written documents such that it's still viable to show that this person really knows what he or she is doing. Honors and award. Has there been something notable that you've experienced while in school, while at work, while you're volunteering? Maybe they give you the best worker or best employee of the month, best employee of the year. These are the things that will be in your honors and award. Maybe you receive an award for the best participant in this scholarship program. These are the things that will be in your honors and award. Various things. So you can also include the extracurricular activities. So CV is limitless for what you need to put in. Everything that you think can interest a recruiter of what you have is what you put in the CV. Very, very broad. Very, very broad, as you can imagine. Extracurricular activities. Maybe this person was a volunteer. Put it there. Was an events manager. Events manager does not relate to this work. As you can see, it does not relate at all. I mean, events manager and marine geoscientist, it does not really relate, but yet it's part of the things that he or she has acquired as knowledge, as skills, and as experience. And also, I also include conferences. What conference have you gone for? I know. What conference, which year, who organized the conference? So those are things that has been looked into. So let me just give a brief recap of others. So this the one I did: expertise, education, work history, referee. Sometimes I used to put available on request for referee. Sometimes it's not so necessary for you to put a referee, because it's expected that during your interview that you will have your referee recommendation or the names or the details while you're coming for an interview. So it's not so much necessary for them to look or ask for your referee while checking your documents. But sometimes if the client really desires to have it there, I used to put it there for him or her, but it's not so compulsory for a referee to be there. So this is another one. You can see work experience, hobbies and interest. Now I put in these hobbies and interests. It's not so necessary and important. Referee. available on request. So educational background, certain times depending on, I will still explain in the class, but depending on uh of the job position, as the case may be that the person is applying for, I used to place certain emphasis on work experience. You can see that there are almost 6 different highlights under this work experience. 3 different highlights under this work experience, undergraduate intern, and it's under educational background. Many things on there. Now, why do I do that? Is to show that this person really knows what he or she is doing. Um, Sometimes I place, especially in resume writing, I place emphasis on education. And you can see 6 points under their bachelor's degree, you can see 5 points under master's degree. Probably the person is not really having much work experience. Those are things what I was talking about: chronological resume, functional resume, and then combination resume. Um, I I place emphasis based on the person's need. If I see that this person has work experience that are really applicable to the field that he or she is applying for, I load in much point under the work experience. But if I found out that the person does not really have much experience, as the case may be, I place much emphasis on his education and his skills. So I'll place much emphasis on his education because that was what the person studied in school, and that's the position he's now trying to go back into as a career. While along the years he has been outside his field all the while, but now he's going back into his career. So I'll tell the recruiter that he has everything it takes based on his educational background that he has. I don't know if you understand. So that's the basics and nitty-gritty about that. The emphasis in which you place depends on the client's need. So this is another one for a mathematics graduate. It was just a recent graduate in mathematics. So I can see the skills. I put it under 3 subsets: soft skills, administrative skills, and personal skills. Soft skills, administrative skills, and personal skills. You can pause the video to see what's the content. Then work experience, the title of the work, the place, that's the company or institution or so, and then the year. What's the starting year, what's the end year. I used to put it at this edge. Same also down the line, like that. Now I want to say something. Now I explained this yesterday that what you place forward and what you enlarge most depends. Now for this one now, it is firstly expected, that you put in your job position, you make it much more bolder, you make it much more of greater size. If you look at this one now, this one I made it 12 point and then I bolded it. The institution is just not bolding, and at a particular point I italicized the location. Why did I do that? It's a normal way that should be, but there's another case whereby you can see that I will place emphasis on the location, the institution, more than the position. So for those work experiences that does not really matter, I find that this person does not really have much work experience, that does not really, but he has worked in a place that are notable. Take for instance, someone who is a chemist, but yet, chemist by educational background, but yet he worked as an engineer in Google. Now, as his work experience, I want to place much emphasis on Google, and then put chemist. Maybe he worked as an engineer in Google, maybe a software developer or software engineer in Google. I'll put software developer under, while I first place Google Inc., which is the name of Google, which we all know. Why? Because that attracts every recruiter. When they look at it, look, wow, this person has worked with Google. That first brings their attention to looking into, even if they don't want to say, wow, this will even work as an engineer, which is not really applicable to the job position of a chemist. Well, but the fact that this person really has worked in Google means that this person really has content. So certain things, what you do in your resume and CV and your cover letter is such that you emphasize your strength and you demoralize your insufficiencies. You emphasize your strength, you demoralize your insufficiencies, such that everybody that looks at your work, your document, sees much of your strength. And although it's expected that someone will not really have 100% efficiency, That your 2% insufficiency is being reduced so that it doesn't really make sense. They go, well, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. That's what every recruiter will say when they see your document. So that's what is really expected while you're writing your document. So this is the one I recently wrote for someone at the officer. This person studied what's it called, geophysics in school, geophysics rather, in school, but yet is applying for position of administrative officer. Now look at this provisional summary. Is not really looking like a geophysics summary at all. So I wrote it in form of administrative experience that the person has had, and the skills and the abilities that this person possesses. So the things I wrote in the provisional summary, so that anybody that reads this provisional summary is enthusiastic to go deeper and read, because there are always many CVs to read about. As you all know, over hundreds of people applied for the same job position. So someone looks at this document, and these people are human beings, so they have limited time to look at your document. So you need to put in things that are really interesting, very very interesting. So look at this now. I just have to, I can't put geophysics here because anybody that looks here and just see geophysics will just gets piece of that. This guy does not know anything in administrative officer position in which he or she is applying for. So this is the skill. You can see very little we use anything called geophysics except this ball budgeting, but it's not even like ball. It's not even like a geophysics budgeting, which looks like financial capacity. What other thing can you see there that looks like geophysics work? Like all the petrol, all the well logging, all the 3D seismic and all. You can't see it there. But there was one that I did for him also that I put in that. But let me see. Look at this. Let me see. I want to show us one that I wrote for him. Can't see it close. I don't know why. So now that's that about that. But you can look at this now. That is the officer. So I talked about. You can see I place much emphasis on his work experience than his education. If you look at his education, I just wrote B.Tech in applied geophysics, SSC in this. You understand? I did not place emphasis on B.Tech. But if you look at some other document, I place emphasis on their educational background. You understand? So that's just it. So professional courses that he did, I place emphasis on project management, human resource. So these are professional courses that he or she has done. Research and field report, like I told you earlier, undergraduate reports, field work, practicals report, and all of those things can be included in your research and field report. It does not reduce you, in fact it increases you, as you may think. So that's basically what CV is all about. If you want to put your picture, it depends. You can see that some documents I really do not put picture, some I put. It depends. If you want to put the picture, no problem. It's not so important as it is then. The reason why the picture was brought in was while that's why they always confirm if you're a robot or not while you are surfing the net. So same thing also goes for this. The reason why picture was needed then was because of how will I use it now? Let me use the word security or privacy. Okay, is this person really true? And no, just like a passport photograph. What your passport photograph does on your document, that's what this profile picture does. So but now it's not necessary because the need has really shut down. So thank you very much for listening. That's all I have for you about CV writing.